This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me this evening. You know, we got some good stuff to talk about. Obviously, Bradley Beal, he's going to be traded to the Phoenix Suns. And, you know, ladies and gentlemen, that really took me by surprise. I didn't expect that Bradley Beal was going to go to the West Coast. I expected Bradley Beal to stay on the East Coast. But, hey, you know, it is what it is. Things happen. You know what I'm saying? I think it helps that the CEO of the Phoenix Suns and Bradley Beal's agent are related. So that's how things work, man. Keep it in the family. Leon Rose is a master at doing just that. You dig what I'm saying? But anyway, how does that impact the Knicks? Bradley Beal being traded to the Phoenix Suns for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, multiple second-round draft picks, and there's a couple other stragglers along, you know, going to the Phoenix Suns as well that I just read from Adrian Wojnarowski. But that's the big part of the deal. You know what I mean? That's the big part of the deal. And look, how does that impact the Knicks? Well, the Knicks have a Washington Wizards draft pick that's highly protected. And it's protected through 2026, ladies and gentlemen. So if the Wizards are in tank mode, it may be a while before that draft pick conveys. Or if it conveys at all. As a matter of fact, it may not even convey. Or at some point, it'll turn into second-round draft picks. So it may not convey as a first-round draft pick. Because I'm going to tell you what, I don't see the Washington Wizards becoming a very good basketball team by 2026. Right? I don't see them becoming a good team by 2026. They weren't a good team now with Bradley Beal. They did a terrible job constructing that basketball team, and I don't see that they're going to be able to reconstruct a winner anytime soon, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, they didn't even get a first-round draft pick back for Bradley Beal. You dig what I'm saying? They got Chris Paul, a guy who most likely they are going to waive, right? That's what I'm thinking. They're probably going to waive Chris Paul. They waive Chris Paul. I think they'll shave $15 million off of their salary cap. Landry Shamet, you know, he's on a 3 or 4 year contract. It's not a crazy contract. Not a crazy contract. I think it's $10 million a year, somewhere around there. You know, and let me see. He's on a contract through 2026. Sham it is. $10.2 million next season, $11 million in 24-25, $11.7 million in 25-26. All right, so, you know, they got a young guy, you know, well, I don't know how young he is, but they got a guy that can shoot out there, right? We'll see how they decide to use Landry Shamet. But other than that, they didn't really get much. I mean, you talk about a terrible deal. for the Washington Wizards, I mean, the best thing that happens to the Wizards in this deal is that they get off of Bradley Beal's contract. That's the best thing that happened for the Wizards in this deal. They get off of Bradley Beal's contract. You know, and I guess if you're starting over, that's at least a starting point because you're going to have a lot of money in cap space. Right? A lot of money in cap space. But how does it impact the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen? The biggest thing right now is that that draft pick. That draft pick that may not convey for the Knicks. Or at least it won't convey as a first-round draft pick, and it may convey as a second-round draft pick sometime in the future. Because of the protections that's on it. Now, how else could it impact the Knicks? Well, since the Washington Wizards are rebuilding, starting from scratch, there's no reason for them to keep KP, in my opinion. What's the point? Now, I'm sure he's going to opt into his contract, and they may see it through to the end of next season. But I would think that the Washington Wizards are going to move or look to move Kristaps Porzingis. That's what I would think. They're going to look to move Kristaps Porzingis. And if so, the New York Knicks may be interested. Listen, they need a shooting center. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't been the biggest supporter of bringing KP back, but the more and more I think about it, the more and more it makes sense. How do you get that done? I don't know. Because I don't think they're going to be in a rush to move them simply because of the cap space. For what? They're not going to sign any major free agents, right? So why are they going to be in a rush to move him? Simply to clear off his contract when he'll be a free agent at the end of next season. So I don't think there's going to be a rush there. Kyle Kuzma, he's going to opt out of his contract. Right now, he's on the books for $13 million. He'll opt out of that contract and, maybe be looking for something between the range of $20 and $25 million a year. I'm not exactly sure how the Knicks would afford that. But there could be some scenarios, a sign and trade scenario or something like that, if that's what the Knicks wanted to do. I think it's possible. Or they could find ways to maybe even allow or speak with the Washington Wizards about absorbing some contracts so that the Knicks could make some moves during this offseason. I'm pretty sure the Knicks were in contact with Washington about Bradley Beal, right? They definitely put their name in the ring. There's different reports out there that say, well, the Knicks were right up in it, but the Washington Wizards didn't want to take on bad contracts, whoever those contracts were. And they wanted to try to get done with Bradley Beal within a year, which that's not really going to happen, given the fact that they got Landry Shamet till whenever, 2026. But, a lot of things going around. But the fact that the Washington Wizards are breaking down, there may be some pieces there that the Knicks can steal away. And we'll see how that goes. You know what I mean? But hey, don't be disappointed, Knicks fans. I know there were some people that wanted Bradley Beal to be a Knick. You know what? I wasn't crazy about it. You know what I mean? I wasn't crazy about it because of that contract. So I'm not upset at all. I think it's a weird fit in Phoenix, but that's cool. That's Phoenix. Let it be over there. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't upset that the Knicks didn't get Bradley Beal. Not at all. I want to hear what you guys think about it. How does it impact the Knicks? Will the Knicks try to make a move for KP? Will they try to make a move for Kyle Kuzma? You know what I mean? Talk to me, ladies and gentlemen. I got a caller on the line right now. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please. Caller, my man, you there?
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm here. I'm waiting for you, brother.
How you doing, Sam?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Yeah, man. Doing good, doing good. I gotta say, man, with three centers on this team that do exactly the same thing, you got to get more flexible at that position. Got to find somebody that can shoot from outside of 10 feet.
Uh-huh.
Otherwise, Randall and RJ are never going to be able to really shine the way they supposed to shine, in my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how you pull off getting a KP or a Kyle Kuzma, with the new CBA coming up and everything, and the way our cap, is kind of strapped at the moment.
I mean, I think there would be ways, I think, for the Knicks to get KP. I think. You know what I mean?
So you mean like Fournier and Rose?
Yeah, something like that. Now the thing is, somewhere along the line, the Wizards are going to say, how does it benefit us? Because KP's contract, KP is going to pick up that $36 million, and it's over at the end of next season, right? So he opts into his contract, and then he's an unrestricted free agent next season. So, how does Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose really help the Washington Wizards? It doesn't. So, of course, you're talking young players and you're talking possibly draft picks or something like that. You know what I mean? So,
true. But let me ask you this, Sam. Let me ask you this. Me ask you this, because this is something that's been on my mind for the last few days about this roster.
Okay.
So you got Josh Hart. Okay, you got Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to decline, and we're most likely going to keep him in New York.
Right.
Okay, and he's a bench player.
Right.
Okay, he's coming off the bench. He's playing plus 30 minutes. Understood. Okay, so next up is going to be IQ.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so IQ again is going to be looking to making about $20 million a year as well. Now that's another player that's going to be coming off of the bench.
Right.
Okay, he's not going to be our starting two.
Right.
It's going to either be Grimes or, if they go out this off season and pick up somebody, like a Dante DiVincenzo or something like that and plug him in, he's always going to be coming off the bench.
Right.
How many guys on the New York bench do you really want making $20+ million or close to $20 million? So this is my problem,
Okay.
because it's, a lot of people say, the way to go is kind of like run it back and, just kind of add on the edges. You can do that. But with this new CBA, you don't want to put too much of your value of your team on the bench or coming off of it. You want your value in your starting five.
Right.
So, going out and getting whatever you got to do to get a KP or a Kuzma or something like that, might be worth it. That's all I'm saying.
Right. So one thing is the Knicks don't have to pay Emmanuel Quickly next season. Right?
Until next season. I got that. I got that. But
right, he's already on the books. He's already on the books for next season, $6 million or something like that. Next season, at the end of next season, or, the Knicks will probably start thinking about it, talking about it. They're probably talking about it now, but I think the Knicks will have until probably October to offer an extension, and I don't think they will. And then, of course, they'll have another time frame where they can give Emmanuel Quickly an extension.
Well, the point I'm trying to make about IQ is maybe you can move him, for something.
That's what I'm thinking is going to happen, that he's going to end up being moved. Obi's in the same situation.
I think that would be the best thing. And, and maybe draft, get yourself into the draft and get yourself a backup point guard again.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's not impossible to replace Emmanuel Quickly, but it's not impossible.
Right. Now, here's the thing.
That's just where I'm coming from on that.
The good thing about having another year with Quickly, and I still feel that it's hard to find a starting spot on this team for Emmanuel quickly now that you got Jalen Brunson. I just feel like it's hard to do that. But the good thing about having another year is you get to see where he's going. How much better does he get? And does he get so good that you're like, we can't give this guy up? And you think about other moves that you're going to make on your roster. You understand what I'm saying? So, you at least have a chance to see where he's going next year before you have to make that big decision. Obi as well.
Maybe by the trade deadline. Yeah, I understand.
Right.
I get what you're going with
Right.
that. But, on the other side, like I said in the beginning with the centers, I mean, you just got 3 centers that all do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no variety at that position. There's no flexibility. You bring in one guy after another that all work within 3 feet of the basket.
Right.
So, and you got, how much money do you got tied up in that position? 60, 76, and then another 6 for Sims.
Yeah.
I mean, you got almost $80 million tied up in the same player, basically.
Yeah. You got a lot of money
Gotta
tied
do
up.
something there, Tim.
Yeah, you do. I agree. I don't think the Knicks, I don't think they come back with all 3 of those guys. I really don't. I think they make a move somehow, somewhere for a shooting center. I think. Or at least that's what I think is best. Let me say that.
Maybe the draft coming up.
I mean, they don't have a
buy
draft
back
pick.
in.
They don't have a draft pick. They're going to have to buy into the draft or trade into the draft.
You got the buy-in.
Or something. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
But I got to say, though, I did like that Keontae Johnson pick that you pulled up. I
like
watched
that
the
dude.
tape on him.
Yeah, I like that guy.
That would be a solid addition to the roster.
It would. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely would.
Yeah, if they could find a way to get him, you're not going to spend a lot of money on him. You know what I'm saying? I think he would be a really, really solid, especially if you end up making a move this offseason and you need some depth. He's a guy, he's older, obviously, 23 years old. He'd be able to, hopefully, he'd be able to come in and give you some immediate production. You know what I mean?
True facts on that. That was a good pick. I watched the tape on him and I was impressed.
Yeah,
for real.
Yeah, I think he's
him.
I think he's a tip type of guy, fits the culture and all that kind of stuff, man. Yeah, but hey, I appreciate your time, bro. Thank you for calling in.
Appreciate you.
No doubt. Peace. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the Washington Wizards, they're breaking down. There may be some pieces that the Knicks can pull off, but the Knicks got to figure out a way to clear up some cap space, free up some money in order to make those kind of moves, because they are going to most likely re-sign Josh Hart. And they've got the exceptions that they can use. You know what I mean? $12 million exception, $4 million exception, but it's not going to get you to what we're looking for. I don't think. It's not going to get you, well, I know it's not. It's not going to get you what we're looking for and what most of us think we need. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to get that for us. So they're going to have to figure out how to free up some money. You know what I mean? So I'm going to ask the caller in the background, someone who just called in, I'm going to ask you to turn that down in the back, and then I can get you on the line once you turn that down, my friend. All right. Now, we are going to get to Julius Randle's interview, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to get to Julius Randle's interview with Paul George. It was a really, really good interview. And I'm going to say he gave us more insight in that interview than we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Than we've ever had. More insight in that interview than we've ever had. Really good interview. We're going to talk about it, too. Let me get you a phone call. Caller, you're live. Name me where you're from, please.
Hey, peace. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, my brother. How you feeling?
From the Bronx originally, but I live in PG County, Hyattsville.
Oh, okay.
Question.
How
about
we're
getting,
close, bro. What's your name?
My name is Rodney Mizell.
Okay.
Basically, I was thinking about how about we get Kyle Kuzma, make him a small forward, and transfer RJ as a back as a shooting guard.
I think if they brought in Kyle Kuzma, that's exactly what they would do, and I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it. Plus, Kyle Kuzma can move to the 4.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I think it gives you a little bit more flexibility with your lineup. Right now, when you bring in Quentin Grimes at that 2 or the 3, or you bring in Josh Hart at that 2 or the 3, neither one of those guys. I mean, RJ, you can put him at the 4 a little bit, but you can legitimately play Kyle Kuzma at the 4. As a matter of fact, when you talk about going to a small lineup, you can go a little bit smaller if you have to, and have Randle at the 5, Kyle Kuzma at the 4, RJ Barrett at the 3, right? Quickly or Quentin Grimes at the 2, and Jalen Brunson at the 1 if you want to go small. You know what I'm saying? So I think I do think Kyle Kuzma is a good fit.
Yeah, because basically, let's be realistic. Isn't really nothing out there for us. You know, nobody ain't going to give us nothing. I mean, Kyle Kuzma being an unrestricted free agency, I think that'd be the best bet. I mean, the best bet for the Knicks.
Yeah, the thing is, can they afford to pay him what he might be looking for in free agency? You know, can they figure that out?
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's going to be the thing. Can they figure that out?
Because we don't got nobody. You said we don't have nobody in the draft. We don't have no draft picks. So I mean,
no draft picks, bro.
Us improving ourselves, we need somebody like Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, we don't have any draft picks. So if the Knicks are going to upgrade this roster significantly without just, playing around the edges, you know what I mean? If they're going to upgrade this roster significantly, it's got to come through trade for the most part.
And another thing I like about Kyle Kuzma, he attacked the basket. That's what I like about him. And we need somebody like attack the basket like in the forward area and stuff like that. Even though RJ does it too, but this guy, when he attacks the basket, he looks real good.
Yeah, and he Kyle Kuzma, I think, is a little bit more. His offensive game is a little bit more diverse than RJ Barrett's right now, so he does give you a little bit more flexibility, the ability to handle the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
The ability to, shoot it from 3, the ability to create a shot every once in a while. He gives you a lot of things. You know what I'm saying?
And the whole thing, I'm not giving up on RJ. Like I said, I like to move him to like shooting guard.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that, I believe he could get much more better. I believe that in him.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. Hey, Rodney, man, you get, I know you're originally from up top, but it's a lot of people from PG County here in the chat, throwing salutes at you.
All right, no doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Back.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, my brother, it's nice talking with you, man.
No doubt. Appreciate it, Rodney. No doubt.
All right, peace, my brother.
Right, peace.
I'll talk.
Peace. As a matter of fact, to my people that's in PG County, I'm going to put my email in the chat. Reach out to me, man, because, I'm right here. I'm in Charles County. I'm just down the road. And, we're trying to do some Knicks stuff here in Maryland for, the Knicks fans that's in Maryland. So, reach out to me so I got your contact information. So when we got something going on, we can do some things. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, in my studio, I'm planning on bringing some Knicks fans into the studio live so that we can, boom, we can talk, do some post-game shows from the studio and stuff like that with some other Knicks fans. You know what I mean? So I just put my email in the chat. Make sure you hit me up. All right, make sure you hit me up. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot that could happen with the Washington Wizards. They're gonna have some cap space, freed up like $100 million or something like that. They're gonna have some cap space. So the Knicks could figure out ways to allow Washington to absorb some cap space. That might mean that they throw some picks back at them. I know a lot of people are saying, well, give them their pick back. But I mean, you can, but for the most part, it's not going to matter because they're going to keep the pick anyway. You know what I'm saying? They're going to keep the pick. That pick has too many protections on it. So they're going to keep the pick. Would they want it back so that they don't have any protections or, they don't have to worry about it? Maybe. But they're probably going to look at the Knicks and say, trust me. They're going to tell the Knicks, trust me. Y'all not going to get this first-round pick. It's going to turn into second-round picks. You know what I'm saying? So, but, the chances are there. The chances are there. So the main way that it impacts the Knicks, ladies and gentlemen, is the draft pick that probably will not convey as a first-round pick, but at some point convey as second-round picks for the Knicks, and then the possibility to make a move for KP or Kyle Kuzma, and even, find a way to give away Fournier and whoever else to the Washington Wizards so that the Knicks can have some free agency room. You know what I mean? I'll get to one more call, and then we're going to get to this whole Julius Randle interview with Paul George, which was very, very good. A 2-hour interview, ladies and gentlemen, but it was good. It didn't feel like it was 2 hours long. It was a really good interview. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, hello?
Yes, sir. Name and where you're from.
Hey, what's going on, my brothers? Mr. Well from Harlem.
What's going on, Mr. Well? How you feeling?
Oh, man, listen. Let me tell you something. Let me ask you something. Would you trade Randle and trade R.J. Barrett for an all-star? Because I would in a heartbeat. I don't know why people keep saying that one of them have to go. I'm going to tell you why I believe both of them have to go.
Ooh.
For one, Randle, he slows the game down because he's a ball stopper. Every time he gets the ball and he gets agitated, he throws the offense completely off. That's number one. Number two, R.J. Barrett. I think he's been here 4 years, and he hasn't done anything. So if you really want to become a championship team, you can't have mediocre players and expect them to be superstars. It has never worked in the past. Why should we believe it's going to work now? Stop. As Knicks fan, we got to stop letting other people bamboozle us because neither one of them is going to help us get the chip. You know that, I know that, and the world knows it, but no one wants to be honest and talk about it. I don't like neither one of them.
So who are you trading them to for? Because Randle made the All-Star team, right? You said an All-Star. Randle made the All-Star team. So I'm assuming that you're talking about someone better than just All-Star, right?
Well, listen, although he made the All-Star, but what does he do in the playoffs?
As well. All NBA
because
as well.
It's not just about the regular season. It's about what you contribute in the playoffs.
I dig it.
And
I dig it.
And he hasn't contributed anything. But to answer your question, I would have went last year. I would have preferred Donovan Mitchell. This year, I would have preferred Beal. I prefer Ingram. I prefer Kuzma. Any of those players. Matter of fact, I even prefer Brown in Boston.
Yeah, I mean Brown's. The thing about Brown is he's not going anywhere. So you would have preferred to move RJ because I'm pretty positive that if the Knicks would have included R.J. Barrett in a deal, if Bradley Beal had said, yeah, I'll go to the Knicks because Bradley Beal had the right to choose which team that he could go to, would go to. If the Knicks would have included R.J. Barrett, I think Washington might have bid on it. So you were willing to take Bradley Beal's $200 million contract with a no trade clause. That's what you want to do that.
I'd rather take Bradley Beal over RJ any day. For one, Bradley Beal is a way better player than RJ. That's for starters. RJ's been here 4 years, hasn't done anything. So absolutely, I would have taken. And not only that, you could have negotiated with him. He has no trade clause now. So if he did it for Phoenix, he could have done it for the Knicks.
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is you would have inherited. So you're ready to pay him $50 million a year? Do you think Bradley Beal is worth $50 million a year? Giannis don't make that.
Bradley Beal is better than RJ and Julius combined. I would have done it, yes, hands down. I wouldn't lose not 1 minute of sleep.
I don't know. I wouldn't have did it. I mean, I'm not blaming it all on Bradley Beal, but as much as you say the Knicks ain't going nowhere with Randle and RJ, the Wizards haven't gone anywhere with Bradley Beal. They've only been to the second round in the playoffs ever with Bradley Beal.
True indeed, but it has to do with culture. It has to do with coach. It has to do with point guard. It has to do with system. So it's not all Bradley Beal's fault. Let's see what they do in Phoenix. And by the way, this whole Phoenix thing might not even work because when they tried that big three here in Brooklyn, you saw that was a debacle. So I'm not sold like everybody else saying that Phoenix is all of a sudden, because they have those three-headed monsters,
that they're going to surpass Denver. Denver has culture. Denver has stability. Denver's been the team's been playing together. They have camaraderie with one another. So I'll take Denver over Phoenix any day of the week.
Me too. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how that's going to look. You know, I think it's a weird fit out there. I don't know, man. You know, I think the Knicks are in a good place because.
What about Draymond? Would you take Draymond right now if you could get him?
Over who?
I don't know. Let's say if you say you give her Harkenstein and the other guy that comes off the bench, the other center, the young guy, what's his name?
Jericho Sims.
Yeah, him. And then let's say you give a second rounder, like 2 second-round picks, and just to sweeten it up, like a Derrick Rose or even a Fournier, just to get them off the books. Would you do that deal? I would do that deal right now.
I don't even think you can trade for him right now because I think he opted out of his contract, so he's an unrestricted free agent. So you'd have to sign him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what Draymond. I mean, Draymond's a little bit older. The only way I'm bringing in someone that's.
But he's a dog. He got the dog in him. Yeah, and we need someone that has the dog in him.
You know, I think what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know if he's the right. I mean, I've thought about Draymond. I don't know if he's the right. I don't know. I guess it would depend on how much you're paying him and where he's playing.
Remember Oakley and Anthony Mason?
Yeah, I take it. Of
course. So you need a dog like that back in town.
I take it. I take it. I mean, I get what you're saying.
I've been in Knicks since Bernard King.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just tired of losing. I'm tired of the excuses. I just want the Knicks to just to be good again, to be competitive.
I feel
you know how fun it is when New York City, when you have the Yankees, the Mets, and you know the Giants and the Knicks, they're all together, and even the Liberty, when they're all good at the same time. That's what I want. I want New York to stop being a laughing stock, and I want New York to be good again.
Yeah, I don't think we're a laughing stock anymore, though. I don't think we're a laughing stock anymore. We've changed that around.
Not as much, but let's say we don't do anything. We have no draft pick this year. So let's just say nothing happens. What results do you expect? I mean, we couldn't go past Miami, but if we would have had Donovan Mitchell, I think we would have beat Miami. As a matter of fact, I'm 100% sure we would have beaten Miami. If we would have had, let's say, a Bradley Beal, we would have beaten Miami. The Knicks wasn't that far off from beating Miami.
If we would have had them with the guys that we got, because Donovan Mitchell with Darius Garland and Jared Allen couldn't beat the Knicks. So if we would have had them with RJ, with Randle, and with Brunson, we could have beat Miami by himself. I don't know. But Mr. Well, I believe I appreciate your time, man. I got some things I want to get to. I appreciate
hey, listen, I'm gonna hit you with my my email, and we're gonna continue this conversation.
All right.
Because hey, we gotta be Knicks strong, my brother.
All right, no doubt about it. Appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir, man. Happy Father's Day, by the way.
Thank you. Same to you. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
No doubt. Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we be having some good ideas, Knicks fans. We be having some good ideas sometimes. I don't know. Anyway, let's listen to Julius Randle in some of this interview and break some things down. I got my man Tony Crow getting ready to jump in, and we're gonna listen to him and break down Julius Randle. All right, the first thing I want to listen to is Julius Randle talking about watching film. You know, this one's going to get all over the place, I'm pretty sure. You know what I'm saying? And people are going to, say whatever they're going to say. But this is Julius Randle on watching film. Let's take a listen.
At this point, right, like, you're going to get better. You're going to get, like, the skill stuff. You're going to continue to get better, but it's the mind, bro.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, it done slowed me down, so I'm able to, like, I'm never been, like, a film guy, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch a lot of basketball, but I've never been a film guy. So, like, I'm doing things that I may not necessarily take the time to do.
Right.
So, like, I can't physically be out there,
Right.
you know, but mentally I can put myself in the places and watch and learn. So it's been cool.
Are you watching? You not watching film now?
No, I am.
You are. Okay.
I am. That's all. I can't do nothing, bro. So it's like it's like I had to get away from basketball for a little bit, but like, you know, I'm at that point now. It's like I want to get back on the court, but I can't.
Right.
So like I'm in a spot now. It's like, all right, well, how can I get better? You know, if I still physically can't get on the court, so it'll be that much more efficient when I get back on there.
Oh, that's so good.
Honestly, bro, like, and that's why I said it depends on how you look at the injury, right? Because I don't know if I get to that place if I'm, you know, fully healthy going into the summer.
Right.
Because I might just attack the summer without a real strategic plan.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And without structure or knowing what I need to get better at.
Right.
So it don't slow me down. I'm like, all right. I look at film of P and I'm like, all right, that's how you get into this. This is why things are working. You know what I mean? Or look at other players and like, why are they so successful? You know what I mean? So just taking stuff from that because I don't care what people say, bro. Like for me, I don't know, what was I, 26 when I won Most Improved, bro? That shit, that don't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Usually that's like for people like younger in their career. So that just go to my mindset of just being able to improve at 26, 27, 28, 29. How can I get better? You know what I mean? Because ultimately, how can I be the best version of myself to be the last one standing?
Right.
You know, with that
you got
trophy.
that hunger too. That was what, your first year in New Orleans?
No, that was my second year in New York.
That's your second year in New York. That's your second year in New York.
Second year in New York.
But you had that trajectory. I remember you was hitting me when you was in New Orleans and we was having those conversations like, bro, how do I get better? Like, what do you do with this? Like, and I, just from that conversation, I'm like, he get it. Like,
but it's crazy, bro. Like, the more you watch and the more like I study, bro, it's funny how simple basketball is.
Tony, what's popping with you, my brother? How you feeling, man?
What's good, Sid?
I'm chilling.
Shout out to the chat.
I'm chilling.
Go
I'm
back
chilling.
this time.
Already, you know what I'm saying? Earlier today, after this podcast, you know, went live, you know, people would talk about, oh, Julius Randle just started watching film. He's never been a film guy. He just started watching film. What do you take from that? How do you feel about that? Where he says he just started watching film a couple of years ago, not this season, but, you know, a couple of years ago is when he really started watching film for himself. How you feel about that?
Well, to me, it sounded like he reached out to people. Paul George being one of them, and asked them, you know, how do I improve? How do I get better? So that might have been one of the people that told him, hey, this might be one of the things you do. Start looking at film. And you know, start looking at your own film, start looking at other players, start looking at this. So, I mean, to me, that just shows that he figured out, you know, something that he wasn't doing before that actually is effective. You know what I mean? And improving, helping him improve.
Yeah. You know,
because for you to start watching film, somebody has to tell you or send you film. You know what I mean? Like to know what to look for. You know what I mean? To me, that's something like a coach would do. A coach would send you footage in the off season. Hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. I want you to work on these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess to me, I feel like you was with Kobe. You know Kobe's watching film, right? And there was a point in the interview where he said, you know, Kobe would break some things down to him and he'd be like, yo, like, what are you talking about? I don't even understand what you're saying and blah, 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 blah. You know, and then he would, you know, later on get it. You know, say, oh, that's what he was saying, boom, boom, boom. So it just makes me feel like, you know, because he said he started to watch film basically in that COVID year, right? And then this is when he became an all-star, all-NBA. Where could he have been if he had been watching it earlier? You know what I'm saying? And started to understand a little bit more about how people are guarding him. And where's the best ways he can get his shots off and all those type of things. You know what I mean? I'm grateful. I'm grateful that he's watching it now.
I don't think it's a overly common thing throughout the league.
I agree.
Especially with the younger guys. So my thing is, I just feel like that's something that the great ones figure out. You know what I mean? And utilize. But you're absolutely right. The younger you start doing that, you know what I mean, the better you're gonna be sooner.
Better you're gonna be sooner, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm glad he's doing it now. The thing is, it feels like what's made him do it was, well, it's COVID, so I can't hoop. You know what I mean? Well, now I gotta, I'm recovering, so I can't hoop. Let me figure out another way that I can improve myself during the off season. But I'm glad that, he's still looking and saying, all right, I can't get in the gym. What can I do to make myself better? You know what I mean?
And that's like, it's like a blessing in disguise, because even if you look at it as a negative, like, oh, I can't believe he never was looking at film. It wasn't like he was just chilling.
Yeah.
His thing is being in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, and working on his game physically. So, like I think, he's acknowledging, like, I had to sit down. You know what I mean? He had to sit down because of the injury. He had to sit down because of COVID. He couldn't do what he would normally do, which is be in the gym. But he got that itch.
Right.
And now it's like, all right, this is how I'm filling that void.
Yeah. And here's the thing. For Julius Randle, and I've said it ever since his first All-NBA season, said the way that Julius Randle is going to get better, he's not going to get faster, he's not going to get stronger. He can pick up some more skill, footwork-wise, and a couple of moves here and there, but it's going to be the IQ part of it. That's what's going to make Randle get better, in my opinion. And better doesn't always equate to, now he's averaging 30 points a game and 12 rebounds. It doesn't always equate to that, in my opinion. Better, I think, for Randle is going to equate more to, how do I help make my teammates better? How do I understand defenses better? Do I understand what we're trying to do on offense more? You know what I mean? Like all of those type of things. You know what I'm saying? Do I see where the traps are coming from so I can get the ball out of my hands? Those are the things that I think are going to make Julius Randle better. And a lot of that stuff comes from film study. So hopefully he built it into his arsenal, his off-season training arsenal,
Yeah. I was just going to add, it could help him. I mean, he could go up to 30 points just because
it could.
The efficiency may get better as well. And what I mean, that's going to make a world of difference for anybody on the team.
He talked about efficiency, right? He talked about efficiency. I'm going to play it in just a second. He talked about efficiency. He talked about, kind of where he is and how he identifies what he needs to do to get better. He didn't want to go into depth. You know what I'm saying? And you'll hear why as we listen to this part of the interview. You know what I mean? He talks about those things. So let's take a listen as Randle breaks down or, kind of talks about, his takeaway from the season in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And how he's going to approach it in the offseason. All right, this is Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen.
You spoke about reflecting on the year as a whole. Tough situation losing with the Knicks in y'all season. What's the biggest takeaways from a team standpoint and from your individual season? What was your biggest takeaways?
From a team standpoint, I had to say it just show you like how balanced the league is, right? Mm-hmm. To where we realize, man, like just keep getting better. We not that far off. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's motivating for me in a sense because, like, I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, all right, how can I be the best version of myself to help the team win?
Mm-hmm.
So I go into the offseason, you dissect that. But it's everybody from a team. Like, we got a great mixture of talent, bro. We got young dudes. We got, guys who, going into their prime. So we got a great mixture of guys, but it's like, how do you keep getting better?
Right.
So from a team standpoint, I think that's where we at. Like, as individuals, how can we get better? And then we figure out, what worked in the postseason, what didn't. Like, what worked versus Miami, what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
What are the teams doing that won? So, like, I look at Denver and I'm like, all right, what are they doing as a team to help them have such great chemistry on the court,
right?
To win. So I look at it from that standpoint. And then from an individual, I'm all about efficiency, bro. So for me, it's efficiency. Like, how can I look at, and I take examples. Like, I look at you, or I look at a guy like, for instance, Jimmy. Like, Jimmy for me is a great example of somebody who continues to get better.
Mm-hmm.
How does Jimmy go from, being a 46% shooter to, a 53, 54, more efficient, less shots, whatever it is,
right.
Type of player. So I always try to look at, like, how can I be more efficient?
Right.
How can I be easier to play with? How can I help my teammates?
Do you ever go, like, so for me, season done, I'll start to reflect on my year, and then I'll highlight something that I know I struggled with all season long. And it's like, damn, now I can finally address this. You got something that you can go to where this summer, like, boom, I want to get better at this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to give out your secret.
Yeah, I can't tell you.
Okay, all right.
No, it's definitely, but I'll do that during season. I think that's one of the things I learned too. Like, at the end of the day, bro, you done seen every coverage.
Yeah.
You know what teams are doing, like styles of play and stuff like that. So it's like, all right, I'll take notes like during season, like, all right, this is what this person did. How can I get better at this?
Yeah.
Or you see things in the year, like, I'm not as comfortable doing this on the floor. How can I get better at that?
Yeah.
I can't, long story short, I can't tell you people.
Yeah, don't give me.
We still competitive, bro.
Yeah, don't give us everything. I'm gonna figure it out.
We love you on our side, bro, but it's still competitive.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when we play and you do something, I'll be like, dog, you just added that. No bullshit. We're gonna have this moment. I'm like, dog, you just added that, didn't you? Watch.
All right. So the first thing. I mean, he threw a little nugget in Paul George's ear right there. You know what I'm saying? He said, I can't tell you what I'm working on, but because you're still an opposition, but we'd love to have you. You know what I'm saying? I think he threw a little nugget out there. Later on in the interview, Paul George, I think there was, should I say, flirting a little bit about, you know what I'm saying? And they probably have had those discussions. It's clear that Julius Randle has gone to Paul George just for advice, you know what I'm saying, basketball-wise. But I'm going to tell you my favorite thing from that part of the interview. Julius Randle talks about watching Miami, watching Denver, and what did they do as a team to get better? What did they do? What made them successful? You know what I'm saying? And I can only go by what he's saying in the interview. That's key to me. You know what I'm saying? How did they do it? What did they do? And can we take something from that and apply it to us? You know what I mean? I think that's important right there. I think he's right about the team. You know what I mean? A lot of, young players that are just entering their prime, guys that are learning, some older guys on the team that, help provide guidance. You know what I mean? I do think it's a good balance on this basketball team. You know what I'm saying? I do. I think it's a good balance. Knicks 100, the GM said he never once said he must get better. You're wrong. He says plenty of times throughout the interview that, I got to figure out what to do to be the best version of myself. So, go watch the interview. It's a really, really good interview. As a matter of fact, he's probably going to say it in the next clip that I throw on there. But I think he, I'm hopeful that the playoffs have been a great learning experience for him. You know what I'm saying? And, and he's seeing, a little bit more like, okay, it takes a little bit more work than just being successful in the regular season. for me to be the last one standing. You know what I'm saying? What's your takes from it, Tony?
I mean, I love it, man. I'm a fan of his, so you know what I mean. This was a great interview. I'm still haven't even finished it, so you even giving me parts that I haven't got to myself yet. But yeah, I think you know that he definitely was courting him a little bit. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, oh yeah,
And I definitely you know, I obviously don't want you to reveal whatever it is you're working on, but glad to know you are working on something in particular. You know what I mean?
right.
Maybe a go-to move. Love the fact that he's focusing on efficiency because I think you know that'll make a world of difference. And I mean, he always seems to bounce back. You know what I mean? So that's one thing that you know what I mean. I always give him credit for. I acknowledge his faults and his flaws, but he always seems to come back and bounce back the next year. So that's what I think he you know what I mean his ultimate goal is.
Yeah. I hope so. He always talks about his ultimate goal being to win. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that he wants to win. You know what I'm saying? And I think he wants to be. And I see someone in the chat ask me to turn my mic up. I try to turn it up as much as I can. Hopefully it's good enough. If not, then I'll work on it for later on. You know what I mean? But I'll see if I can get it up a little bit more. I do think his ultimate goal is to win basketball games. You know what I mean? Now, is he perfect and knows exactly the right way to go about doing it all the time? No. But I do think he's a person that's working towards it. You know what I'm saying? I think, and I think he's got a lot of right ideas about what to do. Can he apply it though? That's the thing. He's got these ideas. Can he apply it? Because one thing that I caught earlier in the first interview, not the first clip where he was talking about watching film, is that he said, if this didn't happen to me right now, I might have gone into the offseason unstructured, right? Without a real plan. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I'm just laughing because I see people in the chat saying it's all lies, don't let them fool you and all that. But hopefully he takes from this that I got to have a plan going into the offseason if I want to get better. You know what I'm saying? I got to have a plan. I got to figure out how do I get better, you know what I mean, throughout the offseason. Because that's where you got to do it. And now with his leg the way, he can't really work out for a certain period of time. It could take some time to reflect. Because one of the things they were talking about earlier in the interview was that both of them were kind of guys like, all right, I sit out for about a week or 2 weeks, and then I'm ready to get back at it. Like, I'm ready to go. You know what I'm saying? And
he said he got it from Paul George.
He got it from Paul George, right. You know what I'm saying? He got it from Paul George. So hopefully, and this is what I'm talking about, when people talk about guys getting better as they go. As you grow in the league and you got more experience, you learn different ways to get better as a player. You know what I'm saying? You figure it out. You figure out what do I got to do to get better? Is it just my skill on the court, or are there other things that I got to do? You know what I'm saying? I'm not showing the clip tonight, but they talk about some meditation techniques that he's been using that, we all saw that he started doing it last season, where he talks about he really started doing it in 2020. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that I think he's, ways that he's tried to improve. You know what I mean? He did talk a little bit about his leadership style, right? And I know the chat's going to have a ball with this one. All right, he's going to have a ball with this one. But he talked about his leadership style and how when he was injured, when he got injured the second time in the playoffs, how it bothered him. He couldn't get out there and play. How he said, well, what can I do to be of benefit to my team? You know what I'm saying? So let's take a listen to Julius Randle as he talks about his leadership. As he talks about his leadership style and ways that he was trying to help his team while he was injured.
Like when I got hurt the second time, and Aaron know this, like I was at that point the second time, and I was like super upset because I wanted to be out there, competing, when it mattered the most, and it was also like a learning experience for me too. Because typically, like in them situations, I'm just like, man, to myself. But it taught me like how to like, kind of get out my own way and still, be a great teammate. Still cheer on your dudes, offer encouragement, do things that you might not necessarily do to help your team. It kind of made me think out of the box rather than because my leadership style is lead by example, right? I go out there, I play hard, compete. I say something if something needs to be said, but like I'm gonna show you with my actions, and I can't do that. That's been taken away. So how do you think out of the box to be there for your dudes?
Did you think that helped you as a player, like help you grow as a leader now? Because now it's not just by action; it's being a verbal leader.
Yeah, it definitely did, and both got to align, right?
Right.
Like, you don't want the dude that say all this and then he go out there and
he ain't doing it.
He ain't doing it. Like that's the worst kind of leader,
right?
Bro. I can't stand that shit.
Just talking,
bro. I can't stand that, bro. You know what I mean? So like they both got to align. So I'm not gonna tell you something that I wouldn't do myself, type of thing. But it showed me, bro. Like a lot of times I'm naturally a quiet, reserved guy, but like our voice, bro, like we take for granted how much weight our voice holds. How much dudes listen.
I think it holds more.
All right, so that's Julius Randle, ladies and gentlemen, talking about how much his off season. I'm sorry, not his off season, but when he was hurt, how he had to be on the bench, figure out ways to contribute, right? Cheering people on, giving words of encouragement, giving advice, so on and so forth. And then he said he leads by example. Right? He leads by example. Tony, you may not have heard it because I think I had it muted for you, but he said he leads by example, and he hates it when somebody he hates it when somebody says all this and that, this and that, and this and that, says all of this stuff, but then they don't show it on the court. Tony, your thoughts? Because you know what the chat's already saying. You know what I'm saying? You know what the chat's already saying about his leadership. He don't have no leadership or whatever, about, not putting it all out there on the court, things like that. Your thoughts, Tony? You're muted, Tone. You're muted.
No, I was just saying I got to actually hear it, so my bad. But I'm laughing at the chat because, they like he can't be serious. No, he didn't just say that. You know what I mean? Like he's delusional. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna finish the interview. You know what I mean? Whenever we done, but go ahead and give me your thoughts on what he said.
I mean, I think he's got to take a dose of his own medicine. You know what I mean? Obviously, we all saw in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Where he wasn't giving you what you expected or what you wanted him to give. You know what I mean? So if he says that he's a leader, he leads by his actions. You know what I'm saying? Then you almost got to be perfect. I don't want to say you got to be perfect, but you got to step out there. I will say this, Randle has times where he lapses. No doubt about it. He has times where he lapses, but he also does play hard. People are going to say he doesn't. I disagree. I mean, I've been listening to, interviews from reporters and these people, that people, whoever. And they all say, yeah, he does. He plays hard. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean he doesn't have lapses. That doesn't mean he doesn't have those moments where he's not there. That's not what I'm saying. But for the most part, Julius Randle does play hard. He keeps himself in shape. He normally comes in tip-top shape. it seems last season, he did some things to really help out his diet. Does he have things going on with his behavior? Yeah, no doubt about it. As a matter of fact, he even mentions it. In this interview. He talks about how he plays like on the edge. He's always amped up. And sometimes his emotions go over the top. Something that he recognizes. He's got to, obviously, we want him to fix that. You know what I mean? Do you think Randle plays hard, Tony?
Of course, I do, Sim. You know I do. I do. I mean, I think he has lapses on the defensive end, 100%. I think there's times where he might be the culprit and he might be yelling at somebody else.
No doubt.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
But at the same time, I'm looking at the end result and not the full scope. You know what I mean? So it may have been a read prior to his read, whatever the case. You know what I mean? But from the naked eye, I've seen him, you know what I mean, have lapses on the defensive end, yell at somebody else. But for the most part, man, this dude play hard every night, all the time. And there's a lot of responsibility on his shoulders.
Yeah. So Tony, I want to play this again because I want you to hear it.
All right.
So that you can really, really comment on it and give me your full thoughts. All right. So I got it set up to make sure you can hear it. Chat, I want you to hear it again too. I want you to hear it again. And I know they don't want to hear it again, but I'm gonna play it again. It's Julius Randle on his leadership style. It's Julius Randle on how he felt when he wasn't able to play with his teammates and what he tried to do to help lead from the bench, so on and so forth.
Like when I got hurt the second time, and Aaron know this, like I was at that point the second time, and I was like super upset because I wanted to be out there, competing, when it mattered the most. And it was also like a learning experience for me too. Because typically, like in them situations, I'm just like, man, to myself. But it taught me like how to like, kind of get out my own way and still, be a great teammate. Still cheer on your dudes, offer encouragement, do things that you might not necessarily do to help your team. It kind of made me think out of the box rather than because my leadership style is lead by example. Right? I go out there, I play hard, compete. I say something if something needs to be said, but like I'm gonna show you with my actions, and I can't do that. That's been taken away. So how do you think out of the box to be there for your dudes?
Did you think that helped you as a player, like help you grow as a leader now? Because now it's not just by action; it's being a verbal leader.
Yeah, it definitely did, and both got to align, right?
Right.
You don't want the dude that say all this and then he go out there and he
ain't doing it.
He ain't doing it. Like that's the worst kind of leader,
right.
Bro. I can't stand that shit.
Dog just talking,
bro. I can't stand that, bro. You know what I mean? So like they both got to align. So I'm not gonna tell you something that I wouldn't do myself, type of thing. But it showed me, bro. Like a lot of times, I'm naturally a quiet, reserved guy, but like our voice, bro, like we take for granted how much weight our voice holds. How much dudes listen.
I think it holds more.
All right. There you go, Tone.
Yeah, the chat is wildin', son. They wildin'. Like, all right. To me, it's an acknowledgement of his past, which a lot of people have issue with. So there's no denying that. But acknowledge the growth, right? Because he's admitting, and we've seen this. When he's not playing well, when things aren't going his way as far as his production, he's by himself. He's angry. He's frustrated. He was feeling those same type feelings when he couldn't play.
Right.
But he had to figure out, let me cheer my team on. Like that's one of the knocks that people have said, like, he don't cheer his teammates on. He's not, you know what I mean? Like the biggest guy with the pom-poms. But he's saying that that's what he did game 1 of round 2. I'm assuming that's the second time he got hurt.
Yeah.
When he couldn't play.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I visibly remember seeing that and talking about it in the post game. Like, oh, you know what I mean? At least he's out there cheering the team. So he's not like what he's saying is actually truthful. You know what I mean? And it's an acknowledgement that he didn't do that in the past. So to me, that's a sign of growth. You know what I mean? Like, I figured out, like, I can't be by myself. I got to cheer my team on. Now, hopefully he could do that when it's not an injury and, you know what I mean, when he's just not playing well. Or, you know what I mean? And then the second part, to me, that's about effort. I mean, and like you said, do I think he plays hard? For somebody to say he's not, like, that would have to be like his teammates thinking that. Otherwise, I don't have a problem with what he said. Like, what he said? If I hate the leader or the guy that's like, oh, you gotta do this, and then he go on the court and he don't do it. I don't see how that's delusional, or, you know what I mean? Because he's out there trying at the very least. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Now I'm with you.
Like,
I'm
the only knock I could give is the defensive end. He's not giving that same effort 100% every defensive play.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, I think part of the thing, and this is, in my opinion, why a lot of people would say you can't rebuild in New York, because I don't think we give enough time for a player to go through evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, RJ been in the league for 4 years now. He need to be boom, 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 boom.
Or he should be this already.
He should be this already. Or that over. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I don't always agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Because growth isn't a straight line. Growth goes up and down. You know, it takes time. Vaughn Allen just said maturation. Yes, maturation. And people mature at different times. Development is not the same for everybody. It's different for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It grows in different ways. You know what I mean? And one of the things that he said is the reason why he feels he was able to take another step in his career is because of the structure that Tibbs put in New York. And the people that's around him in New York, and, you know, giving him the ability to just kind of be him. You know what I'm saying? I think, you know, it's hard, you know, because people want that perfect player. You're not getting one. There's not one here in the league right now.
And not
there's
only
not
that,
one.
It don't matter who is here. Someone is gonna get that energy.
Someone is gonna get it. No doubt about it.
If it's not Randle, it's gonna be somebody.
It's gonna be somebody.
Same energy.
If and when Randle is gone and it's Jalen Brunson, I mean, people did it to Melo. I mean, people did it with Melo. You can't win with Melo. He don't want to change his style of play. He don't play no defense. He's antiquated. All he does is jab step at the elbow and shoot jumpers. You know what I'm saying? Anything you could think about, you know, he don't, you know, he can't play with his teammates.
His teammates don't like him.
Teammates don't like him. You know what I'm saying?
He don't like his teammates.
He didn't like Jeremy Lin. He didn't want Jeremy Lin to get no shine. All the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? All the same stuff. They did it to Ewing. House Flan. They did it to Ewing. Saying De La Music, I appreciate you. My brother, I appreciate you. He said, no, we saw enough and heard enough leadership for real. You know, I would challenge you to ask his teammates about that, because they mention it, and sometimes they mention it without his name even being brought up. You know what I mean? How can you argue with that?
You know what the funny thing is, when he said, or you talked about him talking about what has Denver done and what can he learn from Denver. the first thing that came to my mind about Denver is how they kept the team together and let the team grow.
No doubt about it.
That's the first thing that came to my mind.
No
and
doubt
I was
about
just waiting to get it out. And this is a perfect opportunity.
Right.
Like, that's one of the main things they did, was just let the team grow, let them go through their failures, go through their steps. Jokic talked about that at the podium after winning the championship, going through them steps. You know what I mean? Going through the you good, you're a top team in the league, regular season record wise. You know what I mean? You got expectation, you lose. You gotta feel that to get better.
Right. Exactly. D. Coolidge said Randle also said he thought he was ready for New York, but he wasn't. He did. And I'm gonna bring this up right now, Tony. This is real interesting because we talked about this a lot after Randle's first year. You know what I'm saying? About him learning how to be a number one. And we know he's not a number one, but he was the number one option then. You know what I mean? We talked about this a lot. Listen to Julius Randle talk about that time when he first came to New York and learning how to be a number one in New York. It's Julius Randle.
But was you was ready? Like, you felt you was ready because you was...
I thought I was.
Yeah.
I thought I was, but when I got there, I realized...
Ultimately, number one option right here.
Yeah, but that was my first time in my career being that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So was you ready?
Nah.
You felt ready for that moment?
I thought I was, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought I was, or I wasn't. Like, I always say, my best years have been when I played with better players.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I was coming off playing with AD that year, how easy he made the game for me. And I'm like, going there, I know what's going to happen every single night. And then when I remember the second preseason game. So the first preseason game, we played Washington. Second, we played them again. And the first one I killed. And then we played again, and they start trapping my ass, bro. I catch the ball. They was sending 3 people. I'm like, bro, what is going on? I'm like, man, I ain't never seen this. Like, what's going on? And it was tough that whole year. It was like a roller coaster, like, experience. But it, like I said, man, it made me a better player. Yeah, you know, it made me a better person because I had to grind through that.
Ain't it crazy how that shit can just humble you? Like, you play a ton of basketball,
me, bro.
And then you get out there and you like, damn, they got me looking nasty right now.
I look crazy, bro. Like, I realized, bro, you're not as good as you think you are. Like, for real.
All right. So that was on Randle's first season and being the number one, and, you know, what he took from that and what he learned from that. I'm going to tell you, this is one of the most insightful interviews of any Knick player. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I tell you, the whole crew that they have there with on this podcast did a great job. I mean, obviously, it seems like Randle and Paul George know each other, but did a great job of, you know, laughing and joking, helping him to let his guard down a little bit so he wouldn't be afraid to talk about some things. It was really, really a good interview. If you guys get a chance to watch it, I'm going to make sure there's a link in the description of the video so you can watch it, man. It's a really good interview. But we talked about that, Tony.
So and I got an hour left. I'm sorry, like of the podcast.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Yeah, but we talked about that, right? About him he wasn't really ready for it, and he had to learn, and it was a learning experience for him. And he bounced back. Right? He bounced back, became an all-star the next year, all-NBA player. You know what I'm saying? He learned. He took that experience and learned. You know, took that experience and learned. And this is why I have confidence. And then after all of that stuff, and we're going to get to that clip too, all of that stuff with the media and all of that, he took that and I think he learned. And he came back. People didn't think he could bounce back, and he bounced back. You know what I'm saying? Now he's seeing the playoffs, and you hear him now talking about the playoffs, right? Man, like, what can I do to be the best version of myself? Yeah, I feel like he can figure it out. He's done it. I feel like he can figure it out. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. He's done it. He's figured it out in some ways. He hasn't figured out everything. He's figured out some ways. I think he can figure it out. You know what I mean? What do you take from that, Tony? Because we talked about that, and we were spot on.
We talked about it in length, but like you said, man, I like it's so much better to hear it from him, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, we've been called the Randle apologist and, you know, the Randle hive, whatever. But to hear him say the exact same things that we were saying,
right?
You know what I mean? Like, it's gratifying, and it shows that it's a learning curve. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just. It's some guys came into the league as the number one option. Some guys become number one option by default because of the people around. But whatever the case is, you know what I mean? Like, you got to figure that out. You're not going to just come into that situation newly.
Right.
And know, or never been double teamed before and know how to handle it.
Right.
Never been triple teamed before and know how to handle it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's how you get better.
Right.
A prime example. Remember a couple years ago in the summer, it was a clip that went viral of Devin Booker playing in the summer. You know what I mean? And they started double teaming him, and he tweeted out something. Oh, that double teaming in the summer. He's all tight about it. And then, you know, a couple NBA players responded like, "Yo, that's how you get better.
That's how you get right."
like if you don't. If you wait to the season to see a double team, you ain't gonna know what to do with it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you know, I know people don't like Julius Randle all day long. I've been seeing people, you know, pulling out little things. He should have been supporting his teammates this way. He should have been watching film and all that. But and you know what? I don't disagree with any of that.
That's fair.
That's all fair. That's all fair. He should have. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it takes a certain time. It takes a certain point for you to learn it. You know what I'm saying? How many kids in the world have been told, don't touch the stove because it's hot? And their parents keep telling them, and they're like, and they go in there and touch the stove. Then they learn. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it takes an experience for you to learn something. You know what I mean? You know? It takes an experience. It takes an experience. Now, they got to the fans, of course. Right? They got to the fans, and you know, he learned something there too. I mean, Julius Randle's done a lot of learning over the past few years being in New York, bro. Done a lot of learning.
Learning the hard way, right?
Learning. Let me we'll take that away. We'll get to some phone calls in a little bit, y'all. Not right now. We'll get to some phone calls in a little bit. But yeah, Julius Randle's done a lot of learning the hard way. All right, so let's listen to Julius Randle talk about the media. All right, the media in New York, so on and so forth. Then we'll get to some phone calls. All right, Julius Randle on the media in New York.
I want to know, both of y'all are in the active media market, LA and New York. I want to know, how do y'all handle the media and all that fan noise and that negativity that's coming towards y'all?
Yeah, well, it's cool, man, because I got to experience both, bro. Like, because I was with the Lakers.
True that.
You know what I mean? So I've seen both markets. When I was in LA, we was a young team. They had just won a championship in 10.
Yep.
Let me rewind this. All right, so you can hear the question clearly. All right. Again, Julius Randle on Facing the Media. Here we go.
I want to know, both of y'all are in the active media market, LA and New York. I want to know, how do y'all handle the media and all that fan noise and that negativity that's coming towards y'all?
Yeah, well, it's cool, man, because I got to experience both, bro. Like, because I was with the Lakers.
True that.
You know what I mean? So I've seen both markets. When I was in LA, we was a young team. They had just won a championship in 10.
Yep.
And I got drafted in 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Kobe also had, Kobe was his last 2 years, was my first 2 years. So, like, it was that transition. So, like, it wasn't like the expectation wasn't for us to win. You know what I mean? So I know how it is with the Lakers now. The expectation is they got to win.
Right.
It's a different monster. But it was it was laid back. Like my time here, bro, it was great. Like it was fun. You know what I mean? It was we was a bunch of young dudes out there trying to hoop. So like it really wasn't that bad. But when I got to New York, bro, I say first thing first, like 101. If you want like a lesson, don't do thumbs down, like
Don't
to
do
the
that.
crowds. Yeah, I did that.
They gonna throw a soda bottle at you.
Yeah, that didn't work out well for me. Yeah, that was maybe my.
It was on your ass.
Yeah, that was my immaturity, maybe. Yeah, but yeah, don't do that. But I honestly I love it, bro, because it's made me the player I am today. You know what I mean? That. It pushes me. It all depends on how you look at it, bro. It can be tough for some people, and it's been tough for me. It's been tough for me. It's been tough for my family. Mm-hmm. It's hard. The hardest thing for me is my family, right? Because like, you know, the garden it's a different animal. You know what I mean? So it's the hardest thing for me is my family and my son. Both of my sons, but Kai in particular, because he's older. Mm-hmm. So that's the toughest thing. But I love it, man, because it's made me who I am today. Like it done taught me so much more about myself, and as a player, you know, figuring out what really matter, what don't. It done taught me a lot about, you know, who I am as a human. So I done grown so much.
I like the new Jew.
Yeah, I done grown a lot.
I do.
But that shit age you though, bro.
I hate you ain't over there with us, but I like the new Jew.
That shit age you though, bro. It's like almost being like you the president, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, the president, they go in there, you see them, and they look great when they first, and then 4 years later, they got the image and they look old as hell.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now.
How is it in New York? Because, like, being an opposing player, even when I'm walking around, it's, you know, it's everybody. Like, I feel like the culture in New York is just such big basketball fans, and they love, embrace the team. Like how, like, can y'all move around? Is it love?
That's the craziest thing, bro. I think that's honestly the craziest thing. Cause like, if you look at it from a media perspective, like you'd be like, damn, it's hard being there. But then like, I say, this is my first year living in the city. Like, you know, we practice outside the city, but this year I was like, all right, our family was like, let's move to the city. And so I go on walks all the time, like around the city. I'm out or whatever it is. And it's so much love, bro. Like the actual fans interaction, like face to face, is crazy how much love it is, bro. Yeah. Like, and they super, like, we went, like, we ain't won shit, bro. You know what I mean? We got to the second round, bro. And like, they like, man, they so appreciative, bro. Yeah. So like on the interaction, like face to face, like it's love. But like you look elsewhere, you know, you wouldn't think it, but nah, it's cool, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about PG. I see people in the chat saying PG sound like he want to, you know, be in New York or whatever. Listen, no doubt about it. It sounds like it. You know what I'm saying? It definitely, he's asking questions. Yo, what is it like? What is it like? Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? That might be something to watch, Tony. I don't know. That might be something to watch. But, yo, Julius,
we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, no doubt. But listen, Julius Randle's learned a lot, and it seems like he's always learning. You know what I'm saying? And you know, there's other parts of the interview. There's other parts in the interview where he talks about, you know, every day, you know, all he thinks about is how to get better. How to get better. You know what I mean? He's learning, and I think he's getting better. You know what I'm saying? And I think as fans, we shouldn't count him out. We shouldn't count him out. I'm not saying that if something great doesn't come along, you don't make the move. Of course you do. But, you know, I'm not just throwing him to the curb like that. You know what I mean? Not just throwing him to the curb. Tony, what's your thoughts, man? Well, you see B balling for real? Told me to check my account.
I was just going to say, like, none of them haters say any of that stuff to his face. You know what I mean? They see him in the street, and it's all love. It's all appreciate you. You know what I mean? Thanks for wanting to be here, all that kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? They get on the internet and they want to just spew all this hate.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing is, I think what a lot of people have to realize too is, like, if you take all of us content creators and put all our subscribers together, it's not even a drop in the bucket compared to how many Knicks fans is out there. You know what I'm saying? So, we're on Twitter and on these social media sites, but we're only a portion of the fan base. You know what I mean? Only a portion of the fan base. I think, he's learning a lot. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that whole thing, as a matter of fact, he said that, after that season, he was like, yo, he said he was, he was not depressed, but, he was stressed out thinking about the season, so he went to Italy. And he said something he learned about going to Italy.
Small.
That
small world. Like,
yeah,
we're small in the
we're
big
small.
world.
Yeah, he's like something out. Yeah, I'm small compared. He's like, over there, they don't give a damn what Julius Randle is doing. You know what I'm saying? So, he kind of realized how small he is to, just the rest of the world. So it's
and then he said he realized what's important.
What's
important.
I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? So, this was a really, really good interview, y'all. You know what I'm saying? It was a great interview. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go check it out. The most insightful interview by, from a Knicks player that I've seen in recent history. He talks about playing at Kentucky, what it was like playing at Kentucky, playing for Calipari.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Talked about his decision in choosing Kentucky. Talked about what it was like when he, as a rookie, going to the Lakers, playing beside Kobe. You know what I mean? And how Kobe was, gave a couple of stories about Kobe. And then, of course, things you heard about the Knicks. He also talked about Brunson and how, playing with Jalen Brunson has just made the game easier for him. And he basically said that as soon as from the time that Brunson signed, he hit him up and they jumped on FaceTime or whatever. And he said Brunson was just like mad excited and was like, yo, I can't believe this is happening. Boom, boom, boom. And basically from the beginning, the chemistry was there.
Yeah, it was super insightful. I mean, you talk about his mom playing basketball, his grandmother is inspiring him, his AAU time, you know what I mean? And you know what I mean? All of them, nice, great little stories, you know what I mean? Like if Paul George is putting out clips, you know what I mean? I think each clip is like worth the view. You know what I mean? Like
that was really good. I mean, that I'm gonna go back and watch a bunch of their podcasts because they did a really good job.
This the first one you've seen?
That's the first one I've seen.
All right. When we done, I gotta talk to you about something.
Yeah, that's the first one I've seen, but it's been great. Let me get to a couple of super chats here so I don't forget them. You know what I mean? And then we'll take some phone calls, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know what you think about. What you think about it? All right, Trav B. Ryan, thank you for the super chat, my brother. Really appreciate you. He said the fan base is growing through a maturation too. I agree, 100%. You know what I'm saying? Once we start winning consistently, they'll come down. This is the beginning of coming into a winning culture. Yeah, you know what I mean? We're definitely growing into a winning culture here in New York.
I like that comment, Trav. I like that. That gives me a different perspective too. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Yeah. This is
we're
what
not used to it.
Yeah, I meant to bring this. I meant to bring this right here. I meant to say that. Randle also said he plays best with a player that's better than him. You know what I'm saying? And he did say that. He said he plays best. He's had his best years when he's played with someone who's better than him. You know what I mean? What do you take from that, Tony? Because there's a lot of questions as to whether or not Randle can or will play with another player.
I think that's acknowledgement. You know what I mean? That the game, you know what I mean? Just like with Brunson arriving, the game becomes easier. Because when he says best, he's probably talking about efficiency, because he's not talking about his best numbers. You know what I mean? He's probably talking about efficiency. The game becomes easier. The baskets are, less contested.
Right.
It's more one-on-one opportunities and things of that nature.
Right.
But I think it is worth, acknowledging that he would be willing to take a lesser role, move down a slot.
Yeah.
And be the third option. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. I think he will. I don't think he has a problem with it at all. You know what I mean? In my opinion, you never know. You never know until they get on the court. But I don't think he has a problem with it. Let me get you a phone call. Caller, you live. Name me where you're from, please.
Oh, hello?
Yes, sir. What's popping with you, bro?
Yeah, thank you. This is great. I love you guys, Tony and Simeon. No, it's Ron from Still Knicks Fans.
Ron from where?
Still Knicks Fans, man.
Oh, this is Ron, Still Knicks fan. What's going on, man? What's going on, bro?
I do your voice,
chilling,
bro.
brother.
What's going on with you,
I'm
man?
chilling.
What you think about this Randle interview? Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah, I saw the whole thing. I thought, I was blown. I was like, this is a fantastic interview. I was feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 hours long, but it didn't feel like it was 2 hours long.
No, it felt like a nice conversation between peers.
Right.
It was nice to see, and you realize that that's part of the reason why Julius would even agree to do this, because he has before a level of comfort talking to Paul George. I didn't know that they were this good of friends, but it was nice to see. I think they all did a really good job of asking questions, and I think he was very candid, and it was nice to hear his answers, because especially the fact that, the Knicks organization is so tight-lipped with regards to everything they got going on. It was nice to actually hear how one of our best players, looks at different things around being a player on the Knicks, the fans, the inner workings of being a basketball player, the type of pressure you have of being a star player on a team, feeling like the man and then realizing you're not the man because the game is bigger than you. Like, it was so much that came out of this interview. I thought it was great.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, so much more insight than we've ever had, from one of our current Knicks players. He even went back as far back as, my fault, Tony, when he was in AAU and he was playing up. He was like, man, I thought I sucked. Right? He was like, man, I'm some trash, until, he went down and played with people on his age level. So, yeah, definitely. Tony?
No, I was just going to say, it didn't feel like there were any restrictions on the interview. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like anything was off limits. Don't ask this. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of covered everything, you know what I mean, you would want to be covered. So that's what I really liked about it. And that's a change from, the normal MSG restrictions on, questions that can and can't be asked.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ron, did you? Go ahead, Ron.
No, go ahead, Sam. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, did you think at times that him and Paul George was flirting a little bit about playing together?
Yeah, I actually did. And then as I got, I was so caught up in the conversation, so I wasn't making a big deal about it. But as I got towards the end of it, and then I was looking back, and I was like, man, Paul was asking some interesting questions about, being a New York Knick and how things. I was like, that's interesting. I did kind of look at it that way. And then now you guys bringing it up, I'm like, yeah. And watching some of it back, I definitely see it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, there's definitely something there.
Yeah, definitely. And you heard Randle when they was asking about, what he's working on during the off season. He was like, he said, I can't tell you because you're still the opposition. He said, you're still the opposition. Then he was like, we would love to have you on our side. You know what I mean? I caught that.
Yeah.
Freudian slip.
I thought he said, we love you on our side. But either way, it being the same thing.
That's right. We'd love you on our side. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's, Freudian slip. You know what I mean? I
like it, though. Those are the type of fraud. I said it before. You go get caught with tampering, make it worth it.
Exactly. Right. Right.
I did think it was interesting that. I mean, first of all, like I said, I love the fact that I just wonder how, because I did see Twitter, because there was people who saw it earlier than me. And, you know, there was a lot of fans that kind of put like a little negative vibe, like, this is why I don't want Julius on this team. And like, this is like, you know, I think him being candid about being a number one and seeing himself there and then realizing that the game is, you know, it's bigger than him. There's a lot that goes into it. I think Paul George's story was great. That's a great lesson for all young players, as well as something that Julius can learn from. Like Paul George coming in after Danny Granger, thinking he's the man, and now teams are scouting. They're putting you on the big board. We're looking for you now, and it makes a difference. I think that's great, and I think fans need to look at it for what it is. No one, the fan base didn't really see Julius as a number one or sometimes even a number two. So the fact that he's saying it and telling you how he learned about different things and why he feels the way he feels, don't be mad at him. Just understand that he understands what we understand.
Yeah.
Just hope that he does what he needs to do out there. I thought it was a little crazy, but I definitely love that he got into that.
Yeah, me too, definitely. And the fact that, you know, Paul George said, you know, that Randle called him up when they were talking about film. You know, Randle called him up. It was like, yo, how do I get better? You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that he's calling people and asking them like, yo, how do I get better? What do I have to do? You know, I mean, that's big. You know what I'm saying? I think that's big. And it tells you that he is someone who really is trying to grow and become a better basketball player. You know?
Yeah, agreed. I think, you know, one of the things, I always get surprised by these NBA players when they say something that you think is an obvious thing, and then you find out it's not obvious. Like Amari Stoudemire saying nobody taught him how to play defense. Like, what? And then Julius Randle saying, yeah, I don't really watch film, but now that I've been hurt and I've been like, you know, this is surprising to me, but I get it. And if he's doing it now, I'm with it.
Right.
The more you can do it, the better yourself and help the rest of the team. Even maybe he's learning as he's getting older and understanding there's more that he still has yet to put in his bag.
Yep.
But one thing I wanted to say that I think I talked about earlier on my show is I was kind of surprised, not just for me, but I think other people have the impression too, that everything that happened with Julius, with the thumbs down and all that stuff, that the Knicks helped him get a life coach and then he was meditating and really coming into this season with a new attitude. No, he's been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah.
He's just learning more each year, but he's already been doing this. So it's not like this is all of a sudden some new Zen Julius. Julius been doing it. He had a bad year. A lot of outside stuff kind of got into the mix and threw him off course. But I think he centered himself and he's kind of gotten back to who he is as a person.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And I'm hopefully, you know, this offseason, I'm a little bit worried that he's not able to get into the gym like he normally does. You know, but hopefully, you know, through him watching tape, you know, I'm sure he'll heal up in enough time to be able to get back into the gym, you know, and he's able to come back, you know, even a better basketball player. And like I told Tony, that doesn't mean, you know, points and rebounds, you know, just better as far as understanding the game. You know what I mean? I think that's because I think that's where he's got to go, and that's how he's going to become better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, no doubt.
One last thing I was going to say that I will say that, you know, listening to the interview, how he carries himself, what he talks about, how he sees the game. I don't know, like, you know, we always talk about the Knicks having high IQ players and us getting. Kind of feel like he has a good IQ on him. I kind of just think that maybe in certain moments with the pressure and how things happen, maybe he clams up or he sees things a little slower.
Right.
But just listening to him talk, it sounds like he understands the game.
Understands
it's just that, you know, he may not be as quick with his decision making.
Right. May not be as quick to apply it, you know? Yeah.
Right.
And one last thing, Ron. One last thing.
Okay.
How'd you feel when they said, I think they said Jaren Jackson was on, and that he learned the game from playing 2K?
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
So wild.
Hey,
I can't listen. Stranger things, bro. Stranger things. That was wild.
That might be how they learning today. You know what I'm saying? That might be how they learned it today.
They got a movie called Gran Turismo coming out about a dude playing video games, and they're making him a real race car driver.
Right.
So, who knows?
Who knows?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
See? So,
Right.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there it is. That's something. Hey, Ron, I appreciate it, man. Oh, hold up. Tony, was you going to say something, Ron? Was you about to say something, Ron?
Okay.
No, I was
going to say it's always good to talk to y'all, man.
Always.
Yeah, always, Ron. Appreciate it, man.
All right, y'all have a great rest of the night. I'm going to keep watching.
All right, no doubt. Peace. What was you about to say, Tone?
I was just going to say that I ain't going to lie. I was nervous when I knew he was coming on because, the last two players have been getting killed for quotes. And one was the Jared Jackson learning from 2K and obviously Cat talking about he changed the game.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I saw that clip. or said by the end,
so
by the time he's
what
done,
they gonna
he's
get
going.
Julius saying?
By the time he was done, he changed. He's going to change the game. Right. Yeah. I do want to remind everybody. Link to the top of your chat. We got the NBA draft party this Thursday at Legends, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to be there, please. I still think the Knicks are going to do something. You know what I'm saying? It's a free event. You got to buy your own food when you get there from Legends, but, come join us. All you got to do is click the link that's in the description of the video or at the top of your YouTube chat. And, come join us. It's going to be a dope time. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be doing some live podcasting and all of that. You know what I mean? So come join us. Also, we got our very first NBK cookout on July 1st. That's next. That's not this Saturday coming up, but next Saturday. Right outside of Albany. So if you're in the area, please come join us. All right, the same link. You can use the same link to register, ladies and gentlemen. It's in the description of the video, and it's the link is tagged to the top of your YouTube chat. So please come on out and join us. And I also just put it in the chat. All right. I don't know, Tony. It was a fun interview. Good interview. You know what I mean? Good interview, and I think we got a lot of insight. You know what I mean? Insight from them. I'm hoping that I'd like for them to get R.J. Barrett, Jalen Brunson on. I think we might see Jalen Brunson on there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Any thoughts? You have any thoughts about? We started the show talking about the Beal trade and how it impacts the Knicks. Any thought about that?
I didn't catch a lot of what you guys said. From what I gathered, it didn't seem like you guys were too sure about the move. I think it's a great move for them. Now here's the thing.
For Phoenix or for Washington?
For Phoenix. They're top heavy, obviously. You know what I mean? Probably the most top heavy team in the league, considering just them three alone puts them over that over the salary cap, not even including Aiden.
Right.
But I think the fit for those three guys is seamless. You know what I mean? I felt like Bill was a guy that you could drop on any team, any roster. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't have been a fit problem. And then obviously KD and Booker are great pieces, shooters, 3-level scorers. I don't think it'll be too hard to actually fill the roster out or to find guys that want to play there. I think they could really go with all defenders.
That's what
for the rest of the. You know
that's what they're gonna have to do. I mean, I feel like the fit is a little funny to me. You know what I'm saying? Just knowing, like these are. I do believe Bradley Beal can facilitate a little bit, or play off the ball. But I feel like there are three guys who play their best when they're creating for themselves and then for others. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll have to see how we'll see how it works. Neither one of them are. They're not like off the ball, come off screen type shooters. Maybe Book a little bit.
And Beal.
I feel like they need maybe that 3-man that's kind of like Like if they had someone like a what's his name? Damn, I can't think of his name right now. Ben Simmons would fit in that lineup, who is now the guy that is facilitating. I think you're cooking with something. They go out and get Ben Simmons. That might be a nice look for them.
Yeah, KD will lose his.
I mean, but
theoretically,
if not Ben Simmons, but
I feel you.
That type of guy, I think would then now complete it, because you have the guy that's not worried about scoring, that can say, okay, look, well, get me the ball. KD's hot, or KD hasn't gotten a shot. Beal hasn't gotten a shot. Boom, boom, boom. I still think they need one of those guys.
Who I would get if I was them? I don't even know if he retired or not, but I'd go get Rondo.
There you go.
I'd go get Rondo.
That would work right there. You know what I'm saying? Or, that would work. Rondo would work. I don't know if he retired or what's going on, but, someone like that, I think, as that in-between guy. But, I guess, with the height you're playing with, how tall is Rondo? 6'5", 6'4"?
At least 6. I thought he was 6'5".
Yeah. So, we'll see how they put it together. They're not done. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, they can't be.
They're not
they
done.
only got 4
work.
people on the contract.
They got work to do. You know what I'm saying? They got work to do. So we'll see how that whole thing pans out. You know what I mean? Rondo is 6'1". Okay.
And those guys, like none of those 3 guys are headaches. You know what I mean? Like
that's true.
Like it's not like
they're all good guys.
You know what I mean? It's not like, and not a shot, but it's not like Kyrie there where you don't know there's a question mark. It's not like Harden's there where you don't know, it's a question mark. Like all those guys are good. Like those are Leon Rose type guys. You know what I mean? Like good personality, good guys. So I think that makes a world of difference of it working and not working. You know what I mean? Like there's no question mark in that area.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. We'll see. What do you think the Knicks doing, Tony?
I think we're getting Paul George.
How much does Paul George make?
We're going to talk about it.
What's Paul George's salary, man? And what would the Knicks have to do? How old is Paul George?
All those numbers is high. The age,
the age, the salary, all that, right?
But you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. See what Paul George makes. Paul George,
gotta be 40 something.
He makes 45.6 next season, and then he has a player option for 48.7. And Kawhi Leonard's on the same exact contract.
Yep, same exact contract.
Yep, and he probably that's his home, right? LA, that's his home. He wanted to go home. I doubt he's, leaving right now. Now, after that contract, he might decide to, move on to someplace else.
I don't know, Sam.
I mean, they was flirting a little bit. They was flirting a little bit. Any thoughts on Kyle Kuzma, KP? Because I think now that the Wizards have let the league know, we are
open for business.
Yep, we're open for business. There's no reason for KP to stay. No reason really for Kyle Kuzma to stay, in my opinion, unless Kyle Kuzma just wants the stat pad.
I mean, both of them. The only reason really to stay is for money, and opportunity to be number one option. You know what I mean? Like, let's not just throw that out the window. Like, again, I'm not saying either one of those guys are the number one option on a championship team, but that is an aspiration for players to be the guy, right? Be the man. So a lot of times they're gonna have to learn the way Julius Randle did. Like, I think I'm ready to be the guy, and now every team is game planning for you. You're getting double team, triple team. You know what I mean? some people gotta go through that. So I don't think it's far-fetched that either one of them stay and become the cornerstone with a bunch of young guys, you know what I mean, to build around or whatever. But at the same time, I think for Washington, now it's gonna be really about let's do a full rebuild. Let's utilize these guys, signing trades, things of that nature, and maybe get something in return.
Yeah.
Because what they got for Beal on face value, that's horrible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they got no true asset building block stepping stone for the future. Like they basically did a favor there.
Yeah, no young players. No, they're not even. I mean, they got second round picks. It's crazy how cheap that was for Phoenix.
So like a basketball perspective, like if you did the ball to win, yeah, there's no reason for KP or Beal or Kuz to want to stay. But let's, you know what I mean, there's other incentives. It might be about money, it might be about role, it might be about you know what I mean? And I don't know, man. That deal they got, man, they gave him away, basically.
Yeah.
They gave him away.
Yeah, no doubt. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Hello?
Hello, you're live, my brother.
Yeah, hi. It's Bill from Long Island. I was wondering about the KP trade. Don't you think he'd fill a big role, stretching the floor?
Listen, like I said earlier, I wasn't always big on the Knicks reacquiring KP, but in the last week or so, I've really looked at it and said, man, maybe he could really fit nice in this lineup. You know what I mean?
No, if you look at his stats from last year, even number one in the paint in scoring. What is it, 38% from three? I mean, he would be. I think he'd be a great addition to reacquire. And remember, one major factor is that him and Brunson played together in Dallas for years, a couple of years, 3 years, I think.
Right.
And they looked great when they were on the floor together.
Yeah. I guess
a lot of familiarity there.
Yeah. I guess the thing would be, how do the Knicks acquire him from Washington? He's got a player option for next year, which is $36 million, which he's probably going to opt into. So
he could opt out too if he thinks that he may get a longer term, agreement with the Knicks, maybe 3 or 4 years, whatever.
That could be if he feels like he might get a longer agreement somewhere.
Yeah.
But if he opts in, then how do the Knicks afford him? I mean, they can afford him. They can afford him.
We want to get rid of Rose and what's the other guy's name? Fournier.
Evan Fournier. So I think what they have to do, though, so the Knicks have to make a decision about Derrick Rose by June 24th.
Right.
So if they were going to trade for KP, I think they would need to trade for him by the draft so that they could use Derrick Rose. But Washington is probably going to want some other compensation too, I think. You know what I mean? So you might be looking more like Obi, KP, Rose.
Give him their pick that.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see him come back, tell you the truth, man. I think he left on bad terms in a way. Right. I don't really think he wanted to go, but I kind of fault the front office for that too, because even if there was a beef between them, I think the front office had they made their way that they were getting rid of him because they were looking to open up for Durant and the other guy.
And
but
the front office was a mess back then.
Nobody trades anybody in 40 minutes after a talk. So this was on the table long before that.
Oh, right. Yeah. The front office was a mess.
40 minutes.
Yeah. Right. The front office was a mess back then.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
But I mean, they didn't want to take any of the blame, but I think it had a lot to do with what went on, with the front office. So I think, to have a guy leave 40 minutes after you talk to him, that they were setting something up there. And I think he would come back with a vengeance to prove that,
To prove right. And listen, he knows the New York market, so he knows what he'd have to come back and do.
Exactly. I mean, he might take a little ribbon in the beginning, but I think the Knicks fans would fall in love with him again.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I've definitely warmed up to the idea of bringing KP back and how good he could fit next to Randle, RJ, Brunson.
Oh my, yeah. Especially like if they don't have to give up anything, maybe they give their draft choice back to the Wizards and get rid of Rose and Fournier, and it's almost a complete wash, just about.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we'll see. That could look nice. 7'3", 3-point shooting
absolutely.
center.
That would be great to see. I'll tell you that, man.
Yeah, it definitely would. And maybe Tom Thibodeau would use him a little bit different. Or, he passing from the elbow area, doing some things like that too.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
Nobody's going to stop his shot in there.
Right.
Just I mean, he just shoots over everybody.
Yeah.
That's why he ended up like he was ranked number 1 in there for last year too, over the center from Denver too.
Right, and the question would be, can he stay healthy? That'd be the biggest question.
Exactly. But I mean, he played 67 games last year?
Yeah, something like that. Yep. The last couple of years, it's been getting better.
And I think they sat him, like back to back a few times. So
right.
Who knows?
The good thing would be, man, if you added KP to this roster with Randle and RJ and Brunson, and then I'm assuming Quentin Grimes at the 2, or whatever else happens there. He doesn't have to carry a lot of the load.
I think he's capable of doing that. I mean, I think he can easily average between 25, 30 points a game if he wanted to.
But the load is going to spread around. I mean, you have so many guys that can score the ball in that lineup. The load is going to spread.
That's what I'm saying.
Spread around everyone.
Once he spreads the floor, I think everybody's going to have a lot more options.
Yeah, no doubt. But
be interesting to say that, man.
It sure will. We'll see what happens, Bill. I thank you for your time, man.
All right, brother. Take care of yourself, man.
You too. Have a good one.
Yeah, if we getting KP on a fire sale, then I'm more with it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know what I mean? After what they got back from Beal, they can't be finagling. You know what I mean?
We need 2 first-round picks for KP. You know what I mean?
Nah, you should have asked for that from the Suns.
And that's the thing. The hard thing, they were kind of in a rock and a hard place with Bill because of the no trade clause. You know what I'm saying? With KP, it's a little bit different because they really don't have to trade him. They could say they could be like, they already they freed up $100 million.
But Sim, let's be real. They didn't have to trade Beal.
No, they didn't have. I mean, they didn't have to. But what I'm saying is, it's not gonna benefit them in any way to trade KP. It's not gonna benefit them to trade KP for just Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna be looking for something.
I agree. Give them they pick back. You know what I mean? That protection, you keep that protected pick. Now that's an asset that you could use moving forward, or keep, whatever the case. Because we have the restriction, they can't move that pick. You know what I mean?
They can't move it. It's the Knicks pick,
so now they can do whatever they want with it, keep it, trade it, whatever. But my point is, think of yourself as the organization, right? Or you're Bill and I'm the organization, and you have this no trade clause. Yeah, that's fine. That doesn't mean you know what I mean? Like if I'm not getting anything of value back, then why am I gonna appease your trade? You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean,
so that's my thing. Like,
right.
We still got to work together. It feels like they just was like, thanks for all these years.
I mean, I guess the big thing is they got off of the contract. I think that's the big thing. I guess they got off the contract.
I mean, they would have done that with, you know what I mean?
You know,
on whomever was on their list.
Right. So I mean, I think that's the reason why they, went ahead and said, let's get it done. He wants to go there. Boom, we can get off the contract. I think with KP, like they can afford to pay him, and they're not getting a free agent next year. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're like, oh, we got to make sure we have enough money because this guy or this guy is a free agent. They're not.
If he opts out, can they sign and trade him?
If he opts out, they might be able to. If he opts out,
because I mean, I'm just saying, like, I understand what you're saying. Once he opts in, now you know what I mean. They could get some value back or whatever the case, but it's still 1 year. You know what I mean? So the ball's in his court in that instance too, right?
Right. I mean, it's 1 year, $36 million. So he could then after that 1 year go wherever he wants.
Wherever you want. So at that point, you want to work with him as well. I don't know. I just feel like once you get 2 picks back for Beal, like you can't be asking for extras on KP or Kuzma. I mean Kuzma, right. They don't really got no right.
I mean they, I don't know how they would do it. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, give them their pick back. I'll give them Obi, open that spot up for us. You know what I mean? And whatever the money, whatever the rest of the money is.
Rose, Evan Fournier, for the money.
But basically, I'm saying
like
no RJ, no rotational guys.
Oh, hell
You're not
no.
getting them.
Hell no, you're not touching RJ for that. Hell no,
that's all I'm saying. No rotational guys.
Right.
But yeah, I'd do it.
And listen, this would be a perfect. I mean, I hate to say it. I really do. I really do hate to say it because I like both of them, but it would be a perfect situation for Quickly and Obi.
And both of them, yeah, it would.
It would be a perfect situation for them.
At that point, I want compensation. You know what I mean? Now I want you to take the restrictions off that.
Now we doing something right. We're doing some more negotiating, but it would definitely be a perfect situation for them. Starting point guard, starting power forward, let them two do their thing out there. You know what I'm saying? I'd be watching them because I like both of them dudes.
I mean, they would be looked at, they would be frowned upon. The only thing that they could sell is if they knew they was losing KP anyway. And then now I'm talking about taking the restriction off the pick. You know what I mean? Now we getting a pick and
I mean, I think right now, like the fan base is probably like, shoot, we don't got Beal, we might as well blow it up. I think they're kind of on board with blowing it up and just restarting. You know what I'm saying?
If they even lowered the restrictions lessen the restrictions on the pick, I would do it. I would, and Quickly's my dude, but I'd be rooting for him from over here. You know what I mean? Like go do your thing in your you know what I mean, pretty much hometown.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, but we'll see what happens there. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get up out of here. I appreciate your time. Please remember, Tony, any last words though before I say that? Any last words?
Nah, man. Glad I made it on. Sorry I was late. I'm behind on my Knicks and Bruises show, but I got some things coming, so just be patient with me and I'll be back.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember, we got the NBA draft party this Thursday at Legends in NYC. All right, please join us there. It's going to be dope. All right, there's a link in the description of the video. It's also pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. And you can also use the same link to register for our first NBK cookout. It's going to be on July 1st. All right, so make sure you register for the first NBK cookout, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be dope. Basketball games, obviously food, music, doing some podcasting and all of that. Make sure you join us, folks. I'm out of here. And, yeah, I'll be on tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Me and Andy, we'll be doing our thing, probably talking about some possible either draft picks, second-round draft picks, or players that may fall out of the draft altogether. The Knicks can sign an undrafted rookie. So we'll be talking about some of those things, folks. I'm out of here. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.